right? But that they're not giving you the overall perspective of on the matter of, oh, actually, there, because of how our society is set up and how a lot of biases that are still here, right? It leads to these disparate outcomes of people who are black being put in prisons with, like, wrongly, right? Like
Yeah.
wrongful convictions, wrongful, right? And then
Have
they're
you
exonerated.
have you watched the new series on Netflix, the Menendez brothers called Monsters?
No, I haven't.
Oh, you need to watch it. It's actually really good. But it's about two brothers who killed their parents in 1989, and they originally lied that they committed the crime, saying that it was the mafia who killed them, and then they finally admitted to killing their parents. The whole basis of the story is saying that the brothers eventually kind of spill their hearts out and say that they were sexually molested by their father. They molested each other. The mother was complicit in all this. And so it's basically a story of who believed who, right? They originally lied, then they confessed to their attorney, they confessed to the public, but the way that the documentary leaves you is you decide for yourself. Do you trust these two? Do you not trust these two? Well, they were Cuban Americans, um, and they, basically the courts established that I mean, they were, Cuban, but they were white. But
Here,
they were
here, let's.
essentially said that they were guilty of killing their parents, and nobody believed them that they were actually sexually molested. So I think there are examples of incidents where people in the court system who are wrongfully committed or convicted, and I would disagree on some sort where that it's a black and white thing. I think it's a problem within the
That was
justice
a
system.
complete, dude. Okay, so tell me why these disparities exist. Why are people who are black wrongfully convicted so much more?
Man, there's a lot of
Can you give me a
reasons.
reason? What's the explanation for why they're wrongly convicted
I would say there's
and wrongfully arrested more?
a class problem, right? Lower income.
Push the cat. Thank you so much.
I would say
And
that
is
it's
is it possible that class could have been negatively impacted by things like redlining, by things like Jim Crow laws, by
oh
things
yeah,
like slavery?
I read the book. What was it? The Color of Law, talking about de jure segregation, and I can't remember the other one. I actually have the book right here, but no, I agree that redlining existed. It happened, um, but
And
again,
that affects generational wealth, right? So instead of acknowledging it, so what we have to acknowledge is that racists, instead of being able to explicitly put it in the law of, oh, this person can't do this, what they did specifically is they constructed policy that was meant to disproportionately impact people who are black. So the intentions were to disproportionately impact them, but they didn't put it in the law because it would have been illegal for them to do that. Same thing
yeah,
with Trump.
but
Trump wanted to do a
those
complete,
laws
listen,
happened in
listen,
the
listen, listen, listen.
1950s.
Trump wanted to do a complete and total shutdown of Muslims entering the country, but he couldn't explicitly put it in the law that he wants to do a complete and total shutdown of Muslims entering the country because it's against the Constitution, right? Because it's religious persecution.
So he
So
chose the
he chose
countries.
countries that are predominantly Muslim to disproportionately impact people who are Muslim without explicitly writing in the law that he wants to stop all Muslims from coming to the country. Yet we know his explicit intent was that he wanted to do a complete and total shutdown of Muslims entering the country.
Can
So
I
that
ask
same
you
type of
from
intent,
my
the
own?
racist intent put into the policy, even without it explicitly saying that it's affecting this particular group, was still meant to continue racism in this country and has
Yeah.
caused, right, disparities throughout time. Amelia, thank you for the
What
ten
was the
dollars.
actual
Amy, thank
incident?
you for the $10. Whitney, thank you for the $10. Samantha, thank you for the $3. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Emily, thank
Can
you for the
you
five.
remind me of what
And
the
Renee, thank
actual
you for the ten
incident
dollars.
was
Of
of
what?
why he did that? I forget.
Of why Trump wanted to do a complete and total shutdown of
Yeah,
Muslims
where
entering the
he
country.
shut
Here's
down
Nandar. Yeah, there happened to
the.
be a U.S. citizen that killed people in the United States that was Muslim. Push the hanging lights. That's it.
Who was it? Uh, what was
The name of
the?
the person? I don't remember the name.
Yeah, I feel like it was something more than that though.
Nope.
Of the reason why he wanted
Nope. It was
to.
San Bernardino.
Oh yeah, okay, San Bernardino. Yeah, okay. Um, yeah, no, I mean, look, that's happened with the Chinese Exclusion Act back in 1920 1919 or something. That happened with Russian immigrants during the Red Scare. Stuff like that has happened in America before. I don't think that it precludes us to, making that a prime sole factor of making a president out to be evil, if that makes sense.
What? Dude,
Because
just because it's happened
was
throughout society doesn't mean it's not bad. Like, for example,
no, yeah. But I'm
there was
saying that
vast child marriage in society. Child marriage is bad. Marrying adults to children is terrible. It's an abhorrent, morally abhorrent thing. It existed throughout most of human society,
yeah.
and it was culturally normal in a lot of
Yeah, well,
societies,
it still
and
is
that's
in other
disgusting and
cultures.
terrible. So just because it happened throughout history does not mean it's a good thing.
So to the culture that still does it, and I can't name
Benjamin, thank you for the
one
$5. Thank you.
that does it still today in another country, but do you think that they think that though?
Do they think what?
That it is bad or it is evil to marry a younger girl or a
Does who
younger
think it's
boy?
bad?
Does that culture
What culture?
of whoever still believes or still practices child marriage,
I was
right? I mean,
talking
that's
about the
happened.
past, dude. And I mean, it's still legal in some states. Like, you understand child marriage is still legal in some states in the United States, and age of consent is like 16 in some areas. Okay, so it's like a lot of states have a 16 age of consent in this country. Push the coffee, which is
Yeah,
crazy.
no. Yeah, no, I disagree with that. I disagree that that is something that should exist, but I think that I don't know. I don't even, I can't remember what our point is of talking about that. I think that there's two more points that I had made if you want to get back to them, but
Here,
I
like,
feel like
let me.
we're getting off
So
track.
if you don't know any of the policies that you're going to vote for Trump based upon, it really seems meaningless to say that you're voting for Trump as he's been held civilly liable of sexually abusing a woman. Like, would you vote for someone held civilly liable of sexually abusing a woman?
Look, I wish it wasn't the case, but I think, you know, I I disagree with it. I disagree with a lot of stuff that Trump does. Like I said before, he's silly, he's goofy, he's a lot of things. He's said some,
That's a complete
dumb
obfuscation.
stuff
Would
in
you
his
vote for
lifetime.
someone held civilly liable of sexually assaulting a woman? And when I say sexual assault, I mean forcefully penetrating the woman's vagina against her will.
When you say it, when you say it like that,
Understand that.
it makes you know voting for Trump feel wrong. And but at the end of the day, I'm going. I will
It makes you feel
go
wrong because it
with.
is wrong.
Yeah, no, look, I know.
Okay, and if
And
you would vote for someone held civilly liable of sexually assaulting a woman, would you let someone, or would you vote for someone who's held civilly liable of sexually assaulting a child?
no, not a child.
So why
That's
would you vote for someone held civilly liable of sexually assaulting a woman, but you wouldn't vote for someone held civilly liable of sexually assaulting a child?
I don't know, man. I think it's there's I believe that anything that has to do with minors is evil, and regardless of what the night
It's also
was
evil
with
with a
Donald
woman,
Trump.
right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So then what's the
Um,
relevant difference? Because you're just saying age is somehow a difference between the two. That means you'd vote for one but not the other. That means that raping a woman isn't excessively bad enough insofar as that you wouldn't vote for someone.
well, I also believe that cheating on your wife is bad. I believe that owning slaves is bad. I believe that.
So
Um,
here's the two things. One, slavery is something excessively bad insofar as you wouldn't vote for someone. Two, cheating on your wife, it's a very bad thing, but it's not excessively bad insofar as that you wouldn't vote for someone.
well, he wasn't impeached because he cheated on his wife. He was impeached because he lied. Do you want a liar in the
I, I, I
office?
I think that it's not good to lie, but it is the case that, again, lying isn't excessively bad,
Yeah,
depending on
but
what it
either
is,
way,
insofar as that you wouldn't vote for someone.
there are still certain exceptions that the
It depends
American
on what they lie
people.
about. Okay. Now, so again, can you respond to my point though? Again, being held civilly liable of forcefully penetrating a woman's vagina against her will, right, is something I consider excessively bad insofar as I wouldn't vote for them. Daniel, thank you for the dollar. Thank you so
Even
much.
if it
And
meant
Rama,
the
thank you so much. I
success of the
appreciate the
country.
$25. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. What's up?
Even if it meant the betterment of the country. And look, I guess what it comes down to is what do you believe your betterment of the country is versus mine. I'm not saying that, the world is going to end. We're going to have a civil war if Kamala Harris is, elected in, 2024. I'm not saying that the world is going to end if Donald Trump is elected. I just believe for the betterment of the United States of America that Donald Trump will put us on the path towards a better future, right? And it comes down to just a yes, a disagree or agree. And I told you my four main points, and I think those are the four things that are important to the American people. I mean, there's abortion rights, obviously. There's policy. There's health care. You know, the foreign foreign relations.
But you never gave the reason why you would vote for someone held civilly liable of sexually assaulting a woman, but not of a child. You're just saying that sexually assaulting a woman is not severe enough?
Look, I do believe that there is a difference between a child pedophile versus somebody who is,
Sexually assaulted a woman?
civilly liable to.
They're both civilly liable. Remember that it was civilly liable of sexually assaulting a woman, civilly liable of sexually assaulting a child. Only difference is the victim's age,
Yeah,
not standard of evidence. So you're just saying that assaulting a woman is not bad enough.
But one will get you killed in prison. The other one will just get you by.
Kevin,
one of being a
Kevin, that's not a
pedophile
response to what I just said. So again, I'm asking you, do you think that raping a woman is not sufficiently bad enough insofar as that you wouldn't vote for someone?
No, I'll vote for Trump.
Okay.
That's
So
just-
again,
yeah.
raping a woman's not sufficiently bad enough.
I wish it was, but not in this
But
circumstance.
raping a child is sufficiently bad enough.
I believe those two things are different. Yes, sir. And the other one is a grown adult.
Okay, so to clarify, if one was 17, the other one was 18, right? Would you vote for one but not the other?
Look, I agree that cheating on your wife and lying under oath is just as bad.
No, I'm just going to clarify. Like, if someone was held civilly liable
Look,
of
you can
sexually
repeat
assaulting
it-
a
you can repeat the
17-year-old,
question all
right?
you want.
No, I just want to
You already
clarify.
got my answer. Is that I'm going to vote
No,
for
so
Trump.
I just want to see if you hold this
So-
fully through. If someone was held civilly liable of sexually assaulting an 18-year-old, would you vote for him? Like, if Trump was held civilly liable, if they were 18 when he did it, would you vote for him?
Well, they can. At 18, you can be a Playboy bunny and do many things at that age. But I
But
still
we're talking about
disagree.
assault, which is against someone's will. So it's like,
Yeah.
so again, 18, you would vote for them. 17, you wouldn't.
18's still too young.
Okay, 19.
Look,
19?
now you're just getting down to
Yeah. At what
you know,
point do you draw the line? That's what I'm
how
asking.
good is your judgment? I mean, we can, Justin Bieber was 15 years old when he was hanging out at P. Diddy's house, right? Do I disagree with that? Yes. Right? So now you're just getting down to this.
Why is that?
nitty-gritty
Why are you
thing.
pivoting? That's a complete pivot. Like I
Well,
just want to
keep
clarify. At
asking
what
me
point? At what age?
Acceptable for a
Yeah.
president.
At what age would you vote for them, and what age would you not? Because you're saying the difference is age. Keith, thank you for the $20. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you.
I mean, I guess it would be 18. At 18, is there a grown adult?
So you would vote for someone held civilly liable of sexually assaulting an 18-year-old, but not if they were 17?
Look, now you're just trying to make a point with what is
Yeah.
acceptable to be a president.
Yeah. So you would vote for someone held civilly liable of sexually assaulting an 18-year-old, but not if they were 17?
No, not at 17, no.
So if they're 17 years old, 364 days, you wouldn't vote for them, but
What does this
365
have to
days,
do
then you
with any of
would.
the 4 points that I brought up to you before?
The point I'm making is that, again, they're both excessively bad. Okay, and that it's a red line. I've already given you responses to the other things you brought up. We talked about identity politics. Ironically speaking,
Yeah.
you said that like identity politics is brought up too much, and then you almost based the entire conversation on identity politics, and you didn't talk about any policy. So ironically, you
Well,
were
I
the
told
one
you
making the
the
conversation
reasons
about
why I'm
identity
voting for him
politics.
is not political; it's cultural.
Yeah, but like if you cared about the culture of Push the Confetti, you wouldn't vote for a guy who's been held civilly liable of, sexually assaulting a woman. You wouldn't vote for the guy who says he has sex in common with his daughter, said yeah to Howard Stern, calling his daughter a piece of ass, who calls his daughter voluptuous, which means sexually attractive, or says he walks into the changing rooms of naked teenage girls because he quote unquote owns the place. That wouldn't create a good culture. Would you want the children in your classroom saying stuff like that?
Well, they already do. So,
They already do, and you think that's so
if you
maybe
believe that
they
these kids
are.
aren't
How
saying
about this,
stuff like
Kevin?
that already,
Maybe
then
maybe they are because you've normalized it by voting for him. Push the hand art. So if your kids are saying that in your class, that's very problematic, Kevin.
so you're saying because somebody votes for Trump, that has
Or we push the
automatically
$10.
qualified a student to talk about a woman in some sort of way?
I'm saying that when we
You don't
have a
think that
candidate
it's a
like Donald Trump
bigger,
as
more
president of the United States and children look up to him, if he engages in a particular behavior, they believe that behavior is better.
Well, let me ask you, what's
They
more
believe that
powerful?
behavior is okay.
What's more powerful? Hollywood, that impresses on children every single day by making music, making TV shows, making movies, or the person who is trying to lead the country, who probably kids don't even listen
The
to as
person
much
who's
as.
trying to lead the country, because the person that they look up to, the person that's supposed to be the person of good character, doesn't have good character. Okay, you understand what the president's supposed to mean? The president is supposed to be a character that you can look up to, that's a good role model for the country. Okay, a
Mhm.
good role model for our children.
Yeah, and look, I
Okay, that's not what
disagree.
Donald Trump is. Donald Trump is a terrible role model for our children. If my children acted that way, I would be disgusted. I'd be embarrassed. Okay? I don't want my children to act that way. I need there to be a good role model in the presidency. It's very important. It's almost more important than the policy. It probably is more important than the policy to me, right? Having good character, because at the end of the day, something bad happens when the presidency is in office. Do you want someone who's open to change, who has good character, that's going to do the right thing no matter what? Or do you want the person that is going to look out for themselves at the expense of the country, put their partisan politics over the country? Push the hand hard.
I think it's well, we all know that the country isn't ran by one person. It is a collective of people who make decisions for the country, and I think the ones that would be in charge under Trump's administration would be the ones that essentially, again, like I said, will make this country better in 4 years than Kamala Harris.
Can you give me like an example of what they would do to make it better?
They would secure the southern border. They would bring more respect to police officers in certain communities. They
We
would,
already went over those 2 points. Trump undermined the border bill. Trump wants to pardon people that were pled guilty and were convicted of violently assaulting police officers.
but he will obviously create a new border bill once he's elected into office. Just because he talked to a couple, Republicans in the House of Representatives and Senate doesn't mean that, he
It shows
doesn't
he's
want
not
to secure the
serious about
border.
border policy. He cares more about getting the recognition himself, right, and running on the issue than he actually cares about fixing the issue. That shows terrible character, it shows bad values, and it shows he's not actually upholding what he says he does. He just wants you to be like, "Oh my God, you're so great for doing this, Trump." Denise, I appreciate the $5. Thank you so much.
Yeah, well, I think he, at the end of the day, would be the one to make the illegal immigration numbers go down at the end of the day than what it has been.
Okay. Do you think there's a border crisis right now?
Not in this past couple months, but within the
Okay, so then
last
what's the
3
issue?
years. What do you mean?
Then what's the issue? If Biden already fixed the problem, what does Trump need to do to fix it? It's
He
already
needs
fixed.
to. Is it though?
Wait, you just said there's no border crisis.
I think the numbers have gone down in the last 4 years. I think there is a crisis still, but I think
Oh,
the
okay.
numbers have gone down within the last
Okay.
couple
So if
months.
there's a crisis right now, well, then there was a crisis at the end of Trump's
But why?
administration because there's less people coming now than there were at the end of Trump's administration. So why didn't Trump fix the crisis if he had 4 years to do it?
Well, because he wasn't, he didn't win the election of 2020.
No, but I'm saying he could have done it while he was in office because this is the end
How?
of his administration.
Well, I think it takes a little bit longer
It takes
to fix the border than
so it
before
takes
years.
longer than 4 years. So then why'd you expect the Biden-Harris administration to do it in 4 years?
Well, because it skyrocketed. It didn't just continue; it skyrocketed.
It's
Under
higher
the,
it's higher under Trump at the very end than it is now.
what about last year or the year before that? Was it higher then than those 2 years? You can say
So I agree there was
then versus
cumulatively
now,
more
but
people under the Biden-Harris administration. I think that's due to COVID and inflation, though.
so give me. Can you pull up the numbers for what it was in 2019 versus 2022, 2023? Are you able to pull that up?
I agree.
Yes.
2022 and 2023, there are more people coming. I don't dispute that.
Okay.
I'm saying right now there are less people than there were at the end of Trump's administration.
Yeah, and
Like
I
in
would say that
2021 at the very end of his
Trump,
administration.
if Trump would have won the election, those numbers never would have existed. There wouldn't be 10,000 people crossing every week, right? That never would have existed
I don't think that's happening right now.
within the last what? What
Or
are the
actually,
numbers
yeah,
now?
actually there was about 10,000 a week. Never mind, you're right. Yeah, that's not a bad thing actually. 10,000 is not bad a week. Isn't that like 520,000 a year?
Illegal crossings of the border? You think
No,
that
that's just
is
border crossings in general.
illegal or legal? Because
Okay,
that's
so you're saying that we're getting 10K undocumented crossings. There's no evidence of that.
so you're just saying that there's 10,000 immigrants
Encounters.
legally encounters,
Yes.
so they're all being sent back. Once they encounter them, they're like, okay,
Most.
go
Most.
home.
Amanda, thank you so much. I appreciate the $50. Thank you so much. Or someone just goes through for work. Amanda, thank you so much for the $50. Thank you so much on Venmo. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. It depends on the asylum law, but people have to go through ports of entry now because of the recent thing. But yeah, Kevin, is there anything else you want to talk about or add?
No, man, I just, I'm thankful for your time. And, I just, wanted to give you the perspective of what it's like to be a teacher. And I think how important it is to, bring a sense of, American pride to, the younger generation, to put a sense of, trust in the community leaders and, start rebuilding the culture of America. And I don't know if that's going to get done under Trump, but from my point of view, I believe that it is more likely to go into the right direction under Trump than it is through Kamala, through Joe Biden. So, the policies, the issues with Trump being a bad person, I agree with you on a lot of those things. But I do think deep down, from my perspective as a teacher, that there are some, there are some cultural things as adults in this world that need to change and, need accountability for. And that goes across, being a teacher, being a parent, being a police officer, being in the military. So, we can agree on a lot of things and we can disagree on a lot of things. But I think at the end of the day, it comes down to just a middle ground of what it means to be an American.
All right, I appreciate you coming out.
Yeah, appreciate you, man.
To the next individual, only send a guest request if you will be voting for Trump in 2024. I might try to go for like 30 more minutes, everyone.